Thank you, Paz. Thank you. So, okay, I'll start. Just starting with a bit of housekeeping. We agreed that questions will be done through the chat. Anything you might ask or want to ask, just drop your questions there. I'll be reading them to Gabriel and Andreas. So just first warnings. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. This is our first live between Anicha and Sloyd. Today we'll be talking about textures and building up 3D assets. I'll not talk a lot, so we can actually hear from the people who are here to teach and show what they know. So we'll start with Gabriel Brazil, who's from Anicha, and then we'll go to Andreas from Zeit. So the stage is yours, Gabriel.
Right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. We're gonna have like a very exciting morning talking about materials, how to like very basic fundamentals. What is a material? What is a texture? But what is also very very exciting is that we have here Andreas from Sloyd who's going to be showing a really really cool tool that allows that AI tool that will allow for quickly creating new assets and materials as well. So actually, my whole point of being here is to show people, well, what are materials? What is a model? So people can really be amped up and excited about what Andrea is going to be showing up. So without much further ado, I just am gonna go. Andreas, would you like to have a quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Andreas, co-founder and CEO of Sloyd. So we do 3D model generation, helping you create 3D assets fast and easy. That's essentially it. We just launched our texturing solution a few weeks ago, so pretty fresh out of the oven. Excited about it too, and excited about showing you guys how it works.
That's awesome. Well, we are fast and easy is what we like here at Anicha as well. So I think that's we have like a really the hallmarks of a very good collaboration here. So let's start showing you a little bit what are materials and what are they important when getting like a good optimized beautiful model into your Anicha project or anywhere that you might interested in. So I'm gonna start here. Let's just jump right straight into Blender. But this is not a Blender tutorial. It's just I'm going to be using Blender to showcase to demonstrate what materials are. But materials and textures, this is something that are connected to any 3D model. So I have here like your average Blender scene. This is a model I created the other day, and of this rat cat thing. So as you can see, it's actually made of several different meshes and different components. And this is something that people should be aware when downloading models online. Is like sometimes they are made of several different components. They are not one mesh. The mesh is what we call the 3D aspect of it. It's what calls geometry. Is the shape of it. But what really makes it pops is the materials that you're using it. So in this case here, we have this model here. And as you can see, and here on Blender, in this area here, you can see the materials, or in any 3D model, they have an equivalent. And as you can see, most materials, both 3D meshes have a material which we call BSDF, right? Or PBR material, which is what it means. Material is what will control how the model will look, not the shape, but how it will look. So it has several different properties. Some of them are more complex than others, but I'm going to be showcasing what the basics here. So if you have a PBR material, you usually start with a base color, right? It's something that you can add that has a color to it, right? And they have also as an aspect here, and in this case here, let's start creating a material from scratch. I can create a new material. I can name it like fur 2. Usually always good to start naming your materials. And here you are. It has like a base color is white, so I can change it to red. And I have other aspects here as well. But for example, I can change its roughness, which is how transparent it is. You can see how it's like reflecting the scene or not. But the cool thing about material is that several objects and several meshes can share the same material. In this case here, you can see that the head is still white. Well, if I select here to our new fur 2, you can see it's red as well. So I can change the color, and everything is changing accordingly. So, well, we have here a yellow red with us. Let's keep it a pink red. So, and here, for example, we have this vest here. There's also a different material. And when you see these materials, when you only have colors and these aspects, you don't have any image attached to it, right? You can actually add textures to an image. In this case here, it's just color. So I'm gonna showcase here, show what I pre-created, like I'm gonna show how you can create what is a texture. A texture is something that's inside the material. Not every material have textures, but textures is an image, just like a normal image, that a JPEG, PNG image, that it will wrap around your object. And I'm going to be showing here a little recording I did because I created a material, a texture material for this model here inside Blender as well, where you can create textures. This is just for you to have an understanding. So this, I'm creating a material and adding a size, just like a picture, and making like 124 by 124, which is one way to keep it small, right?
I don't think we're.
And I'm gonna.
If you're showing a
Oh,
video,
you're
we
showing?
still see Blender. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Let me share. Change the screen I'm sharing. Sorry, I always forget this. It does not update automatically? Hold on. What about now? There you have it. Yeah. So again, I created a texture. This is a way where you can add things to the. Remember that I told that we have a PBR material, that you have color, metallic, roughness, all these little properties inside that material. Instead of using a color in this case, I'm going to be using a texture. So instead of having blue, white, or any of those colors that was changing, I'm going to be adding an image to it. So I created a texture, and a cool thing about textures is that they can be either any image. You can wrap around any something that you just grabbed on the internet, but in certain moments you can also draw on them. Again, this is like a Photoshop file. In this case, I'm actually painting live. I'm painting it directly in Blender. Creating a little pocket here, and as you can see, this is just an image, and you can see on the screen on the left how it actually looks. This is what you see right there on the left. This square area here is exactly this. It's an image. It's a square image where I'm painting on top of it. I can either paint directly on a 3D model or paint on right over there. I can paint here. For example, if I paint here and turn my model around, you can see in the back, look, there it is. Exactly what I painted right there. So again, this is just a normal image. That's what a texture is, right? And see, here you are. Now I have a material for the vest, a vest material that not only has all that aspects of metallic roughness and transparency and everything, but it also has an image to it. And that's something that we have to be really mindful, because more often than not, images are the heaviest thing on a 3D model. So in this model here, let me move forward in time. Let me just show you here. This I opened the model here in this GLB inspector. It's a website, a free website, where you can throw any of your GLB models or any models, so you can see exactly how big they are. Is one way to see it. And you can see that this entire model here is only is 300 kilobytes big. So it's very, very small. And a lot of it, why it's small, is not just because the mesh is very simple, but also because I have a very small texture file. But imagine if you go through all this process without having to create your own materials from scratch, without having to create all your models from scratch. If only we had a technology that would allow us for this. And this is this is what Sloyd is here for, and I'm really looking forward to you showing up. The new way, one of the ways of the future on how to expedite the process of creating assets without going through all this process from the beginning.
Yeah, if you're like me when you started kind of learning modeling, you thought that the Blender interface is quite complex. There's like so many buttons, so many things to learn.
Many buttons.
Many buttons. It reminds me of like 20 years ago trying to learn Photoshop. It's kind of the same thing. very, very complex. So we wanted to make something that was easier and more approachable. Our idea is that we all kind of, for example, like we all know what a chair looks like. What we want to do is customize that chair. So we've set up a bunch of templates for you to customize, whether that's a chair, it's a bunker, a hat, or whatever. We have over 400 of those templates. And you can customize them either manually through sliders or through prompting. So we made it in a way where AI can actually do that customization for you. And now when we added texturing a couple of weeks ago, yeah, you can do that through AI as well. Yeah, I'll show you kind of how it works. I guess we do this one. Nope, that's the wrong one. I thought the wrong one.
So where that is interesting that I know people that started working on game
There we go.
development and they thought for the first year when they were working, they were just doing chairs and ashtrays. Like, well,
Exactly.
how many times should an artist make an ashtray or a box or a, or a wooden box for you to hide beneath it? So yeah, it's no reason for you to model all of those from scratch.
Yeah. Now you have ashtrays right here, and you can customize those as well.
I don't know if young
But
people
let's
know
do
what an
something.
ashtray is anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, let's do something. So just to point that out, you don't necessarily have to generate with a texture in Sloyd. You can just prompt and have the colors that come built in. And you'll see that actually when we do textures, how they look without the texture, because they kind of spawn in as we go. So camouflaged tank, like we all need a good tank game, I think. So it's gonna now spawn it first without the textures, just the basic colors, and then it's gonna, you see it's still texturing, giving it that loading in the indication. Now it's gonna add the textures. So now we have it textured. And the cool thing here, I think, is that you can still now customize the object, and the texture still sticks to the object. And this is something that would be quite hard to do in other software. So, and there's a ton of customization options here too. So that's how the AI works. It's like, now I did something super generic, like just tank. But if you're more specific, it would customize it to fit that prompt, both on the textures but also on the shape of the object. So we could do something else. We can do maybe like a leather couch. Maybe we're making a living room scene or like an interior scene. And we get it untextured first, and now it's adding the textures. And it's added some leather material here. And it's also like got the right, you want some wood on there, basic kind of gray pillows. And still, as before, you can still customize whatever you want. There's also something I really like is the randomizer. So you can just get tons of different variations
Really
that
cool.
way. Just if you need some inspiration, like, oh, that's not what I thought of, but maybe that's the kind of couch I want, You never know. So I can do a couple more, and I'll be happy to take some suggestions too. Well, actually, an important point is what we have right here. What we focus on mostly is like hard surface objects. So weapons, buildings, furniture, props. If you try to do any animals or people, all we have is very basic people. If you try to do animals or full scenes, then it's not going to work. Also, like, I see people trying to, add a fire to the building or something like that. Unfortunately, no effects or anything like that. You still need to do that yourself. We're focusing on the object. So let's do, I don't know, we can do a small house for, I don't know, for a family with a car. So it is kind of intelligent like that. Yeah, good
Oh, look
stuff.
at that.
It added a garage to it as well. If I prompted in a different way, probably wouldn't added the garage.
This is really
Ooh, a
cool.
very
Imagine if you have a scene and look at that.
very colorful one. I was not expecting that. It's nice. Small kids in that house, I think. We can try something very similar. Yeah, but go ahead. As I'm typing.
No, this is actually really cool because imagine you have a scene and you have to populate, make it like an entire little city, right, with hundreds of little houses.
Yeah.
Even on Blender, if you're really good at Blender, this will still take a while because everything has to have a UV, everything has all the materials have to match, and in this case, you can get like several different houses already, really quickly, and they all slightly different and following some. Yeah, this is really cool.
Now we're actually this will be updated very soon. So that's the thing. We add new templates, we add new objects every single week, and we update existing ones too. So one thing we're focusing on now is making these hollow as well, so you can actually go inside them. The one you're
Cool.
looking at now is not hollow. Yeah, that's going to be pretty, and fixing some bugs because I don't know. I think this was okay. It was not the best house I've seen. If we're not happy, we can just randomize it. Maybe that's already better. So there's so many, and every single generator has this. Like in all these you have on the list here, there's thousands of objects, thousands of like variations. So that's kind of how it works. We have a few more minutes, so I can take I can do a
Could
few
you
more.
show
Or
materials a little? Could you show
oh
the
yeah,
materials properties of one of them?
yes, okay, of course. So now we're in the house here, and then we move over to material property, and here, yeah, this is a really important point actually. So every Sloyd model comes with up to 4 model slots or material slots, essentially different materials, and they're already pre-configured to fit on different parts of the object. As you can see, like the roof has a certain texture, and sometimes it like I think this is pretty interesting because it selected like a pavement texture, so they're all tileable textures. It still looks good, like even though it was intended as a pavement, it still it definitely looks good for a roof there. If I open, for example, the paint here for the walls, I can also change the colors and do that kind of stuff. And you do have the material properties here too. I can. Oh, it's bugging out a bit. That's life in a live demo. It's supposed to bug out sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. It's not making it transparent. It should, but that's how it is. These ones,
The app
when
always
you have it,
knows.
what was that?
No, the app always knows when it's live, so and start
Yeah,
asking after.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. These ones are set when you have textures because we have material maps and they wouldn't change for these ones. So I take that back. We have actually fixed that now, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool. So yeah, I mean that's really it. So when you then export it, okay, that's an important point too. So you export if you
Yep.
want the materials and the colors, you make sure to select the GLB one. If you do OBJ, it's a simpler format. It's just a single mesh. You don't get even the colors and not the materials. The cool thing here is you also have the separate parts. So you have the roof in this separate object and so on. Yeah.
Really cool. I actually have a model here I open in Blender, so I could quickly show how they actually match up with what it is with what they showed recently.
Mm-hmm.
I just actually our product manager created this really funky piano. Right? He said like I want the psychedelic pink piano, and as you can see, it actually has this material, and you can see that it's actually made of several different textures. Each one is doing something slightly different, and you can see here this is the actual texture that's working as a color, which is giving this marble face, and that's something that Sloyd generated all by itself. But it's also generated several different other materials. For example, it generated an image to be used as a normal map. And I don't know if you can see here a normal map. You can see like how the way the light reflects on top of this piano here. You have see all these squares. I don't know. Probably you can see it on the screen, and it adds a really cool effect. It seems as if it has some depth. That's also a cool aspect of materials that it adds more information that's not on the mesh. This is just a flat plane, but because the Sloyd generated this normal material here, we have this really cool effect here. And for those who kind of know a little bit about the nodes, when you bring up a Sloyd object to Blender, this is how the material looks like. it's actually a single material with all these different little parameters inside. Like this here, remember the color? I can actually change. Oh no, this is I'm selecting. This is the one. So yeah, you can see change the color here on top of the material, and this here you can see on the PBR material that's which is this main material most meshes uses that have all different parameters. It also have like here the roughness, so you can see slightly reflective, but it also has this normal property here, right? This normal property here, which is that texture that I just showed you before, that's giving it that slightly bumpy aspect to it. And again, this is all generated by Sloyd. I didn't do anything with this model. I just brought it straight into Blender as a GIB file. And if I want, I can start like modeling on top of it. And just start adding my own changes or start painting on top of that material. So Sloyd can be like the first step into making your own model without you having to start from scratch. Really cool. And again, of course, all of this, we can always send these models to Anitya. Let me just quickly show here my little demo here. And again, if you open Anitya, just like and you go to the inspector panel again, Anitya is a great way to, and imagine you created that model really quickly, and you just open it and add the model you created to the scene. I also create, okay, sorry, I created a humanoid character and it came up with this really funky robot here, but I was also able to add it to Anitya. Sorry, I'm fast forwarding here. Is it loading? And should any time now? Yeah, there it is. Like in seconds, I didn't have to model anything. I just brought directly from Sloyd to Anitya, and it's ready for me to walk around it and share it with the world through our platform as well. And that's it. I think we went full circle here. And again, it was really, really cool to have you here, having able to do this demo. And I think now we are open for questions. Right, Danielle? Danielle? I think he froze. Danielle froze here, but still, we are open for questions. Let's see, what do we have here? First question
Yeah, the
here.
question.
90%
I was just gonna
okay,
say the nodes.
ready asset done. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Anicha, thanks. Yeah, it is really amazing. Were the nodes also generated by Sloyd? Yes, they were also generated by Sloyd. I just opened the file there, right? Andrea?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just that's how they look. The moment you just open the GLB, if you look in Blender, all the nodes already set up, everything in there. If you want to mess with it, it's already all set up into a single material. It's one material that has all these aspects there. It's really cool the way it's organized. It's very well organized node system.
Yeah, the textures are all 2K textures.
Cool.
So you can so you can scale them down or potentially up with the AI upscaling as well. It's something on our roadmap to add more texture sizes. Actually, an important thing I'll show you quickly here. Just share my screen again. Something that's on your question to the quality of the size, for example, while you say size of the textures, but there's also the triangle count. You can see down here. Now I just selected
cool.
this the tank, and this one is 8,000 triangles. I can actually just take that down with the LOD slider. Now it's 4,000.
Oh, nice.
So it's
So
like
the moment you
triangulating.
export, you're gonna have only those. Will you export it with all these LOD? LOD is
Level of
what is
detail, yeah.
level of detail,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
See how many polygons. I think you can see that now it's like blockier, but also much lighter from a mesh perspective. Yeah, it's becoming
So you can take it all
much
the way up.
smoother. All the way up. Yeah, from
So
3,000 triangles to
14,000.
14,000, which is still pretty light for current standards, right?
This is just pretty basic, very simple
Yeah.
model too. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Really,
that's that.
this is really nice. I have a
Yeah,
question here
sorry,
by. Oh,
sorry, I'm back.
Aiden.
I lost my connection for a second, but I'm back. I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if you
froze
answered
there.
already
Like,
the
yeah,
question
yeah.
from Aisha about the nodes being generated in slides.
We
The
just
question we had
answered those.
before. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're on Tushar's. So Tushar has a question regarding Blender. I want to know the baking process. I actually use Blender Kit add-on as material setup. What shall I do?
So, I even have a little, like, I have like a really short demo for. Let me show here. Cool that you talk about that. So something we're not going deeply into this. So first, something that's really important. What is baking? Baking is when you grab when you have a model. Like for example, I have this entire city, which was originally made of hundreds of materials, dozens of materials, and lights and shadows, and then you bake. What is baking? You turn like you like slap all those materials, all those lighting information, all those shadows, you turn it into one single texture, as you can see right there. Yeah, this is one image for this entire scene, and you can see that every single little piece was baked. I didn't do that by hand, right? There's a process that generates that, but it's not a very straightforward process. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It requires a little bit of trial and error, but you can see that the model node that it generated is very simple. It's just like a texture and an image, and that's done. It really helps having a super optimized image in your scene, but it does require a little trial and error. And I'd love to do like we can do like an entire live session about baking, light baking, shadow baking, not only in Blender but in other apps. That's actually a really good point that you brought up, Tushar. Oh,
I don't know.
thanks. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really proud for that UV as well.
yeah. I don't know if anyone has any other questions. We still have a bit of time, so really like open. And the idea was to do questions on the chat, but if anyone has any like pressuring questions, you can also come to the stage. I mean, I'll not block you on that one.
I have a question for Sloyd. How's the process of adding new assets? How do you pick up what we're going to be adding next? Like, is it a sofa, a chair, a spaceship? Do you do
We
like a collective decision making? Do you do research? You ask your users?
we look at what people are asking for. Yeah, we look at what people are prompting for, what's being most exported the most. We also look at like what people are spawning but not exporting and try to update those,
Oh,
because then we can like see like the intention was there, but maybe the model is not good enough. Um, yeah, what else? We started with furniture. Like, so we've gone now for 3 years. So we started with furniture, then quickly saw people want weapons and especially buildings. We did research in the start, like what do you spend most time on, and we started there essentially. Like, yeah. So that's how it works. And you can come to our Discord to suggest, if you need, if there's any specific object type or categories that you're missing, or customization options that you're missing, because we do have to add those in the team. So it's not generative in that sense. It's
mhm.
it's customizing a pre-existing template for you, which is how we were able to do the LOD stuff and the UV automatic UVs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point and big difference between Sloyd. Is actually you're changing parameters from already existing structures, right?
Yeah,
You have a
exactly.
chair,
It's
you
like,
have a structure of a chair, and the AI understand what you're asking to create new chairs, right? It's not
yeah,
generating. It's yeah,
it doesn't
everything
start
from
from
scratch.
scratch. Yeah, so it will happen that you try to create something that it's just not in the data set, and it would just say it doesn't work, or it's going to give you something that's not what you asked for. So we'll just have to kind of live with that and try again. That's uh, that's the trade-off with the game
But it's
readiness that we
but
try to aim for.
Well, that's really cool. At least when people using Anitya, because at least your models, since they have already this basic structure, that they come out game ready. They're already very optimized, which is an issue that we had earlier working with other generative 3D model generators that it can create these very messy meshes with blurred textures.
Yeah.
You do have the freedom to generate whatever, but you cannot. You always have to get one extra step of work. You have to send them to Blender, you have to fix them,
Yeah.
and with the Sloyd models, I can just like throw them
You
directly
still need
in
to
Anitya, and
know.
they already work. Yeah.
You still need to really know what you're doing. So, yeah, we're on the opposite side of things. Like you can't generate anything, but what you do get is usable.
Yes. Good.
That's the
Yeah, I
thing.
really got this. Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool.
Another
We have another
just quick
question.
point is that we're not actually stealing anything from artists. That's really important for us too. It's like we're actually creating this stuff ourselves and with our community. So can be sure that it's not ripping off of any artist's works.
Yeah. Just something
Image
we
to
have to be
asset
mindful when
generation.
using AI.
Yeah, so there's a
Yeah.
question, image to 3D. It's definitely planned as something I personally really, really want. So it's it's not coming in the short term, but it's something that we're doing research on. Yeah, to kind of fit with our way of generating.
Perfect.
I think
I
that's
see
gonna be.
is typing as well. Conrado, if you have a question, you can also come to the stage and to share typing as well.
Is it good though to?
Oh, he's actually. Yes. Yeah. Good point, Conrado. He's putting on the group here, is actually showing that sometimes a texture doesn't have to be 2K for the model to look good. And again, for all of those using Anitya, or if every time you're pushing any game-ready asset, be mindful of how big you want your texture image to be, right? Sometimes, even if you just have a single plane, if you add like an 8K, 8K image to it, it's gonna be a huge file anyway, and not necessarily. It's really important to be mindful, especially when downloading models you just find in the web. They look amazing, and then you realize they only have a few polygons, nice, but then the images, the texture files are enormous. So
Yeah,
that's something that you have to be mindful. And then again, it's really cool that Sloyd models come with very optimized, ready to use textures at a very decent size. But you can probably,
yeah.
if
We tried to go for like
you're
something.
planning to upscale it as well, right? And have like an upscaler in it in the future, probably. Or...
We're probably gonna add 4K textures and then have
Mhm.
the ability to scale it down automatically. For now, you have to do it manually, as you say. It's all 2K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know if anyone has any other questions, but while we wait a bit for questions, as to share comments, we have our game jam open until we have a few days still. So it's a moment to test and try Sloyd and Anicha. Like it's a right time and the perfect time to test this combination. So if you have also any questions regarding the game jam, just send it to us, or like yeah, we are available for calls for anything you might need. Because it's our last game jam before the end of the year, so just drop us a message for whichever questions you might have.
Cool.
And I
There's
see someone
so
typing. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
yeah, we can wait for that question. I was just gonna say that if there's anyone who is wants to use Sloyd for the game jam, I can put a discount code in the chat after the call, and you can because you only get one
Amazing.
today. You only get one free asset a month with the free plan. So to get more, then you need a paid plan. But we can set you up with a
Awesome.
discount there.
Awesome.
There we go.
So
Nothing
for
like
whoever's
this.
going to be listening to this in the future, for a recorded version, show up to the live sessions and you might have a better chance of getting discounts. You never know.
That's it. Yeah. I don't think we have other questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Andreas, Gabriel? Also, like the chat is open. If people have questions later, then you can just send. But also, if you wanna add anything now, it's good. The both of you.
I'm really excited to see how Sloyd gonna evolve and to see what other users are coming up with. I hopefully or users will come with the better, beautiful, and more optimized models for Anitya as well. So I'm really looking forward to see what the future holds, and for our next live sessions as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andreas, for the time. Thank you, Sloyd, also for the partnership. Thank you, Gabriel, also for the time. I know we have a lot to do inside Anitya, so it's great to count on everyone on our team to do these live sessions. And yeah, just again, the game jam is open. If you have questions, send on our Discord. And also, we can wait for this discount from Andreas also. So yeah, will be great. Thank you, everyone.
I'll put it here. I'll put it in the chat right now. 30 off.
Perfect.
There you go. Jam 30.
Great.
Put that code in.
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Ciao.